Every third decision I make is, I don't know if I should be doing this. And you're taking that leap of faith. Same with Wovvo. That was also a massive risk, like building something that doesn't exist. Like, I don't know, but like, I'm going to figure it out. Like, I think every day we make decisions and sometimes we don't know. And that's why it's really important to be connected, like to your gut, to like that inner spirit and energy to help guide us, because logically we can get that answer, but it's like, but does it feel good to do that as well?
Welcome to the Creator Money Show, where I teach creators how to build profitable businesses and lasting wealth. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, I'm so excited today for my conversation with Paula from Wovvo. Paula, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk today. So when I met you at a creator conference a couple of months ago and I found out you were building Wovvo on the side, I was so excited to have you on the show because I think you have such a unique story to bring to our listeners. So before we jump into Wovvo, like give us a little bit of context, give us your background, tell us a little bit, like who is Paula?
Wow, there's a lot. Where do I start? Well, content creation has been like a big part of my journey before it was even a thing. Like I was just obsessed with the camera. I had the story that I like to share that I got suspended from elementary school because I was like taking too many photos. I had a blog. Like I was creating content before I even knew it was a thing. So
Love that.
yeah. So creating vlogs, creating videos, capturing moments. I have this massive hard drive of like tons and tons of content from centuries old. So it's been kind of sort of in my blood.
Yeah.
And now people are just like making it their full-time job. So it's really cool how far I've come to really like take those skills and implement. It doesn't happen overnight.
That's really cool. You know, I heard this crazy thing the other day about Bill Nye, the science guy, which this sounds so random, but supposedly when he was little, he loved the camera too. And he just knew he wanted to be talking to the camera. So he like taped PVC pipe together to like film a pretend camera when he was a little boy, I guess. And like would spend hours talking to PVC pipe. And I still like think about that, like, how amazing, because I mean, now technology's come so far, it is so much easier today, but like how inventive, right? That he was to kind of do that. And that kind of reminds me of you, right? Like doing it from a very young age and just knowing you love being in front of the camera. That's so great. Like, did you know that, you know, creating content and being in front of the camera, did you think when you were a little girl that you could actually make this a career? Or was that always just like, this will always have to be a side thing?
So I was part of that YouTube generation. I grew up with Logan Paul. I grew up with Alyssa Violet. I grew up with Vine. So like all those pieces of content on social media, I was just like so obsessed with because I really liked the storytelling and how they went viral and like the clickbait stuff. Like that's what I grew up with. So I do have some YouTube videos that I did archive because I'm like, oh gosh, so cringe from back in the day. And, you know, there was that monetization opportunity, but it was just strictly from like brand deals at the time. But now to become a content creator, like anyone can do it, right? You have so many different platforms. It's not just YouTube, which is amazing.
Right. Yeah. So tell us more your creator journey. Like how'd you really get into it and then eventually decide to start Wovvo?
Absolutely. Well, I've had some corporate jobs. You know, I've worked for startups as well. I was a brand manager for an e-com brand. And because it was a startup, I wore many different hats. So being in marketing, email management, working with influencers, even creating content in social media, like you just kind of do whatever needs to get done in the business. And I did that for 3 years and I really loved it until it was time to pivot. So then I did a little bit of social media management. And then I started really dabbling into UGC, specifically on Twitter, because I was just very active on there. And that's where a lot of my leads were coming from. And then that kind of started snowballing because I've always been able to do content creation. It's just like now you're turning it into a legit business where like you have retainer clients. I'm doing strategy for clients. I'm building SOP for clients. So that's another thing that I kind of took on is as I was listening to these businesses share their problems, I was like, you don't have a system. I'm like, what? Wait, you're hiring creators and you don't even have like a system in place to like, you know, keep everything organized because there's so many different departments. I'm going off a tangent here, but like people.
No, this is so fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess what creators, you know, forget is that like there's the brand, but sometimes there's an ad agency. right? And
Mm-hmm.
there's like
Yeah.
strategists and the creators. So when there's so many different moving pieces, it's really hard to create like the perfect piece of content when there's so many voices coming in from different angles, that once it gets to the ads, everyone needs to have that like approval, right?
Right.
So like what
Yep.
does that look like in the back end? So I really like dove into that, but it wasn't until like 2000 and I don't know 23. I was going hard with UGC, and as I was on Twitter, this is kind of like how Wovvo unfolded. Is as I was
Yeah.
applying to jobs, you make some creator friends online. We made a WhatsApp group, and because I was so heavy on Twitter, I would find the jobs and post them in this WhatsApp group. So
Okay.
then when I would apply, they would apply. And, you know, there's multiple jobs for everyone. Like if there's a campaign, it's most likely not just one creator, it's multiple creators. So we're all winning.
I love that. I love that because I that my instant thought was like, well, isn't there competition? Like you were nice to share them, and how did you even want to be nice to like dole out all of these deals you're finding? But that's you're like we're all in this together and we're helping each other, and I'm sure one creator's aesthetic doesn't appeal to a brand, but another one's would, right? So did you kind of come at it from that angle too of just knowing like we're all in this together?
Well, it's just mindset, right? So there
Yeah.
is abundance in the world, and if you view it that way, then it's all going to come to you tenfold. So definitely not in the scarcity mindset, and it makes me happy to see other people win. So I did grow that group to 500 creators in this private WhatsApp group.
Oh my gosh.
But it did.
And they're not, are they paying you to be in part of the group?
So for 2 years, it was free that they were
Okay.
getting, all these leads. And that's when I had to make the decision of like, okay, what's like the next step
Yeah.
of this? Like, we're growing to 500 creators. Like, is there a next step? And that's where I kind of had to really, take that leap of faith to start Wovvo, what it is today. Because back in the day, I was like just thinking like, how can I find or create a platform that has Twitter opportunities? Well, now we have over 10 different platforms and 3, 4 partnerships that every time they post on their platforms, it automatically goes to Wovvo, and we're locking in more and more deals with agencies and platforms. So the Wovvo creators on our platform see their jobs first because it's like thousands of jobs from the top platforms.
Wow. That is so awesome. So really it kind of came out of this need that you found early on of like there's so many brand deals, I just want to share it, and that working so well that you thought let's just create an actual platform. That's how Wovvo was founded.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh, I love that.
and I love the word Wovvo because it's kind of like weaving opportunities onto like one place and one dashboard. Because let's be honest, if you're on one platform, you're most likely on another.
So tell me more about these. You said like 10 different platforms that there are. Just kind of list out the platforms just so we can get familiar with, what's there.
Absolutely. We have Coley. Coley is an amazing platform. They have amazing opportunities, and they work with really big brands. So if you hop on that platform and you get, the McDonald's logo or like a really popular brand on your portfolio, you can use that as leverage. So these
Mm,
apps are really, really great because, what are the chances of working with a bigger brand through cold DMs when they have no idea who you are versus an app, the app? You probably have a better chance if you're a beginner. So collecting all those testimonials, experiences, those logos with those brands, just really, really great to leverage. We have Breakaway, we have Adovo, and we just have like tons others as well.
okay, that's so cool. That's awesome. So how do creators access Wovvo? Like how do they engage and how does that work? Walk us through that. And then we'll get into like the business side of things with Wovvo.
Absolutely. Well, right now is a really special time because we just launched Wovvo 3.0,
Okay.
and I'm not a developer, but I sure as heck am getting my hands dirty. So if you're ever afraid of, starting something new, hello, I'm literally like your
You can do
example
it.
of like it's possible, you can do it. It's extremely challenging, but I love the challenge to grow and be in your uncomfort zone, to learn new things. So
I
yeah,
love that. Can we pause there? Because I think what I'm learning, right, in my entrepreneurship journey is that humans, I think we avoid challenges, right? It's scary and it's hard to put yourself out there. But yet at the same time, that's how we grow and that's how we develop and that's how we thrive, right? So I love hearing you say, like, I don't even know much about software development. And here I am, right? Building this tech platform for creators to access it. So, like, congratulate, like, way to go. Let's give you a quick little round of applause because you're right. It is so scary and it's so hard. So, like, how did you, talk us through that a little bit, just like the mindset of, have you hired developers? Like, talk to us more about kind of how it's been developed, because not being a software developer yourself, I'm sure that's, or maybe you have been vibe coding with AI. I don't know. Like, tell me how it's being built.
Absolutely. Last year, I met my partner and he is in
Okay.
marketing and we immediately clicked over business. So when I showed him, my idea, he just looked at me and said, well, we can build it. And I was like, okay, well, I just met you like a week ago, but sounds good. I'll just like take that leap of faith. So, and then hopefully with Wovvo 3.0, we can kind of take a break for big developments because I'd love to focus on other things, like get back more into posting on social media, because this is something that's not really talked about, is like when you are building something, you are so mentally drained at the end of the day. For me to pick up my phone and film a video smiling feels so inauthentic that I just had to make the decision that I'm going to go all in with Wovvo, make sure it's just like, is where I want it to get to. And then I'll go back to continuing to build my personal brand, because for me to do both, I'd be sacrificing my mental health.
For sure. Well, and I've been following you online since that conference came out. And I feel like you've done a good job at like showing us the grind, showing us how hard you're working. Like, I don't feel like every post is like this beautiful image, right? I don't think we need more of that, right? We need more people who are willing to be like, I'm working hard and I'm grinding this out, and like just little stories here or there, because the last thing anyone needs is their mental health to suffer.
Absolutely. And I'm very grateful to be in a place where, our team is growing and we do have our Wovvo family that supports us and they're all department, but that didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, it takes a while. Yeah.
Yeah, we just had an event not too long ago in Vancouver here and we posted 50 TikToks in one day.
Oh my gosh.
So that does not happen overnight.
No.
By yourself. It happens with the team. And I'm just like beyond grateful to make these crazy things happen, honestly.
Yeah.
My motto is just be delusional.
You know what? That word keeps coming up more and more. Like, that is not a word that was in my vocabulary, I feel like, very often. And then someone told me when I was starting my business, you have to be a little bit delusional to like start a business and to think it's going to work. And that was the first time I'd ever heard that. But I continue to hear that over and over again. And I'm like, you know what? I love that word delusional in the sense that like you kind of do, right? You have to be all in and excited and feel like your thing is going to matter and it's going to make a difference, and that it's worth the stress and the heartache and the hassle and the feeling lonely and the decision fatigue and the showing up on camera when you don't want to show up, right? Like, it has to be worth all of those things. So I love that you used that word just now.
Yeah, you really have to love the grind. Like that's all it is you have to love the hustle, the grind, the hard work, the challenges. When you're setting yourself up to be an entrepreneur, you're setting yourself up to be a problem solver and to be a delusional like pusher to push through all these challenges, because once you get over that first hill and you're like, oh wow, that wasn't so bad, there's a twice as size hill behind it, because that's where you're growing. That's when you're learning. There's a comparison I like to make that if I were to go to university again and do the same thing, it would be so much easier.
Yeah.
And that's
well, like who you are today, go today and do it.
Yeah. Or like after I finished, that course or that semester, I'll be like, wow, you know what? That wasn't so bad if I were to do it again.
Yeah. It's so true.
And that's the same thing in life, is like, you do it once, you get better, you do it again, and it just like, it gets easier over time.
It does. Well, that yardstick is always moving, right? Of what you're measuring yourself against. And you got to be careful that you also take time to look back and like be proud of where you were and what you have done. Because I don't think, right? If we're always just constantly moving that yardstick, our mental health is going to suffer.
Guilty.
Paula, think about where you came from. Like, that's amazing, right? That you've built this app that I love that you're saying like, we're at Wovvo 3.0 and we're going to like take a break. I'm loving hearing like, that's okay. It's okay to like put your social media on pause to focus on Wovvo and then like turn around and go back to like social media and building your brand and then like growing Wovvo. All of that is okay,
Absolutely.
right? But I feel like sometimes you're like, you just got to always be on the grind and you just got to be cranking out the 80-hour days constantly. No, we can't do that as a
Wait,
society.
can I just quickly normalize that there was a point in time and like it sometimes happens, depends on like what's going on. Like I have a breakdown like once or twice a week. And I think that's something that's not talked about. Like if it wasn't
Oh,
for Ian, I would be like all alone because last month we had our event, we had Wovvo, and we had other projects happening as well. So,
mm-hmm.
those 12, 15-hour days were happening. And the times where I got to rest was like in the shower or in the bathroom or in bed when I'm laying down. But like, that was a choice. No one's forcing you to do that. I was
Mm.
forcing myself to do that because I wanted to push myself to really, sell out Creators Collab. We were completely sold out. We had
Woo!
200 creators.
So great.
Yeah, and the new app and stuff. So it's a choice, and like you can choose your battle, which is like the fun part in life. It's like a game.
Well, and I hope you have learned that of like I chose to push that hard, but now like give yourself a rest, right? And
Yes,
to like give
yes,
yourself a break and that you getting to that's the amazing thing about entrepreneurship I'm learning, right? Like you get to choose to do that. No one is forcing that. And I think that's what you're saying is like that was your choice.
yeah,
Yeah. Am I
exactly.
hearing
Yeah.
that? I
Yes,
like that.
exactly. Of course, I'm pretty sure if my life was documented, people would people would be concerned. I love to work. And I'm okay. I'm okay with saying that out loud. I love to work and really push myself.
Well, that's, I mean, amazing things come from that, right? But it's a balancing act too. So I want to get into like kind of behind the scenes with Wovvo. Something that I think is really neat and inspiring about what you've done is you told me prior to this recording that like Wovvo's all been bootstrapped. So
Mhm.
my history with startups, so I just got out of a 5-year startup, but we were venture backed. So it's fascinating to me hearing about platforms that are bootstrapped versus venture backed and the differences between those. I've lived and breathed the venture backed version of a startup, tech startup, right? So tell me about like your decision. Did you ever think about going the VC route? How did you decide, no, I just want to stay bootstrapped? Talk to us about like that decision.
It was a non-negotiable from the start that I wanted to be bootstrap because I wanted
Okay.
to prove my idea through the numbers and support.
Yeah.
So when Wovvo was originally first, built, launched, announced, I just went to the community on Twitter and I asked creators, "Hey, how do you guys feel about this?" And they're like, "Heck yeah." So we sold out, our first 80 founders. And there was
Okay.
so much, and this was before it was even built, right?
I
So
love that you're calling it that. Founders. I love that.
they
Because
are founders.
they helped like build it from scratch. I love that.
Yes, they're literally on my wall, like all 80 of them. I
Oh my
literally wake
gosh.
up and I express gratitude to them. Because we wouldn't be here where we are today without those 80 people that believed in the idea before it was even built. Was the first version, perfect?
Mm-hmm.
No, but here we are today and we don't give up. So what I did was, pre-sold an idea, a vision, something that we wanted to build. The 80 sold out. So we opened doors to like another 250-ish. And then that sold out as well. And that just like really, really allowed us to get to Wovvo 2.0 and to take that feedback and offered lifetime access to those core group of 80. And here we are, Wovvo 3.0. Who knows what's next? We build based off of feedback.
And
Yeah.
are you feeling like today is like I'm happy where it's at? We're gonna like let it be for a little while. Or are you like, oh my gosh, have like a laundry list of 15 other things I would add in, but you gotta
There's
wait a little
always
bit. Like,
things that I want to add in. I'm delusional. I want this. So what we have done is before it was just an app, right? It was just an app with like really cool, quick apply features, finding the job, so on and so forth. But what we've done now actually, and I don't think this has like exists because I've never seen it. So let us be the first, is our app is community integrated and we have
okay.
our courses and mentorship. inside this app. So it's not just an app. We have your dashboard, your job feed, the community, the courses, and we have tools. So we have a
Oh,
deal tracker, we have invoices, we have a script lab. We literally have, all the things that a creator would need to like hit the ground running as a content creator
wow.
on social media. So there are more tools I want to add, but we're not changing like version 1 and version 2 and version 3. They're all very different. Now we have
Yeah.
the skeleton, and now we're going to like be adding tools so creators can save money. Like, you know how many subscriptions there are out
Oh my
there?
gosh. I think it's like I thought it was just the financial planning world that had a million different subscriptions. I'm like, I think that's just society today, right? Like there's no one tool that solves all the things. So
That's
finding one
cool.
tool, because that's cool. Honestly, I just thought Wovvo was bringing brand deals together for creators, but the fact that you can literally add all these different elements into one platform, scripting and like courses and community, I mean, that you just mentioned so many really cool things that are brought together in one platform.
Well, why not?
I mean, I agree. Why not?
Exactly. I'm just delusional. I'm like, oh, wait, this doesn't exist. Okay, let's build it.
I
Is it the
love
right or
it. Yeah.
wrong thing to do? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's ask and see what people have to say. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
That's so crazy. Okay, so Wovvo's bootstrapped, right? You're making some money. We kind of talked about like how do you decide, and I think this applies to creators too in their own business, right? Like how do you decide when to reinvest money back into the business or just be like, I deserve a payout. Like I've worked really hard and I want to go, buy the fancy shoes or the nice purse or like I want to treat myself, right? I mean, that's always a something that you're struggling with of do you keep the money personally or do you put it back into the business? And so how do you make that decision at a bigger scale with Wovvo?
It really depends. And I can, I can't speak for everyone because everyone's lives, look very different. And the choice that I have made is to reinvest everything back into the business to get to where we are not now so we can have rapid growth because
Yeah.
I don't want this, I don't want to take too long to get to the next version or the next kind of phase where we want to be. So we have been reinvesting everything and just paying our bills. Like that is enough for me right now for me to
Yeah.
go and have, $1,000 shopping spree, a very expensive steak. That's not gonna make me happy right now. I'm just putting that on the back burner. If I need to replenish a foundation, like, yeah, okay. But like I'm really, really kind of squeezing the juice and putting it back into this project, this
Yeah.
passion, this like business of mine because I'm really honing in my energy into it. And I think the universe will reward it because if you are obsessed with something and you pour your heart and soul and you're really diving in deep and you're fully immersed into it, the universe is listening. So energy
I
is
love that.
everything.
Yeah. Well, and I like that you said like everybody is different, right? And that's okay to be different and to understand like if you need the steak, if you need the shopping spree, if you need the thing here or there, right? Everyone's baseline of what they spend and where they're at in their lives is different. And everyone's family dynamic is different, right? Some people have kids, right? And or teenagers, right? And I don't think you have kids yet, right? It's just you and your partner, right? Yeah. So
Exactly.
it's like it's okay to be different and that's okay to own that. But I love what you said is like sounds like you know that and you know what's going to make you happy. Like you're aware of that. And I think so many people aren't aware of that. Like they're not taking that check. So I love that you are doing that.
Through trial and error, I can be a little bit of a shopaholic. I love the shiny things. Don't get me wrong. I love a new pair of like shoes and the latest trend in Sephora. Like I can get distracted. I get that, but being in my 30s, I think really getting better at like differentiating between like do I need that or do I want that? And like do I
Yeah.
deserve that? Like have I worked hard enough? Like why do I need that? Like why is my brain popping off? So that's kind of something that I'm learning in my 30s because it's very easy to get influenced to just like buy,
Oh my
right? To,
gosh.
like get in on the hype.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being a creator yourself, like, do you feel like that? Like, I'm influenced to buy this thing, or I keep seeing this ad and it makes me want it more. I mean, you having been the creator, do you feel like it still works on you, or you're like, like I know what that's like I'm able to put that to the side a little easier because you have been the one creating those ads?
I think it depends on the product. It depends on the
Okay.
product. I love going into Shoppers. I love going to Sephora. That's kind of like my mental break when I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I honestly just walk around and I swatch, and that just works for me. Of
Okay.
course, I love, going in nature and touching grass. You have to find ways to calm your mind when you are like struggling to do so. So like
Yeah.
finding hacks that work for
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah.
I don't think it
Yeah,
really
what are
answers.
some hacks? Like you've shared a couple today, but and you're kind of getting into my next question was like your relationship with money and how Wovvo has changed that. I think you're kind of hitting on some of those concepts of really knowing like why do I want this thing or do I need this thing? And the difference between those two. What other hacks do you feel like have worked to help you with that relationship with money?
I think just getting to an age where, I you just kind of look at the facts and you're like, why? Like, why do I have 6 foundations? Like, why was I influenced to purchase that? Because I remember when I was and I grew up dancing, so yes, I had to wear makeup at an early age of, like, 10. I
Yeah.
only had 1. So it kinda makes you think of, like, why do I need a matte foundation, a sheer foundation, a stick foundation? And that's just kind of, like, the rabbit hole that, consumerism has got us into. Um, I'm very fortunate enough to be able to go and buy these things. I'm grateful, but then it's like, at what cost? Like that could
Mhm.
be, going into something else. Like if there's this thing that I'm trying to do now that if I have an itch for shopping, I buy a stock.
Ooh, tell me more. I love this. Especially as the financial planner in the room. I love this. You were like, I'm so excited to tell Abby this.
I'm not a pro, but I do believe that having like learning the basic skills in investing is so
Yeah.
crucially important because every time you buy a lip gloss, that could be a stock. And that stock, especially if there's a dividend, like I love getting my Wealth Simple notification. You just earned a dividend, and that dividend gets reinvested, and it's like that's the dopamine that like I love to get. So just being
Oh my
self-aware
gosh.
on these things, like like when you have those cravings that you're like, oh, I just want to like go and treat myself. Treat yourself to a stock.
I'm literally gonna like quote you. Can I like put you on my website? I love that you're saying that. But I genuine, like be very genuine. Do you really feel like buying a stock gives you the same dopamine hit as buying like another foundation or buying a you said you had 9 foundations, so maybe that won't be, but like something you don't have a lot of, lip gloss or nail polish. You could always have more nail polish. Let's say it's a nail polish. I don't know. Like, do you really genuinely feel like it is the same?
Yes. In like
My
the weirdest
gosh.
way possible. And it can even be an ETF. Like it doesn't matter. You can find stocks for $20. You can find stocks for $200. So it really just depends. And the way that I see it is like, I'm still getting that dopamine of like spending money. I'm still learning the whole like psychology behind that.
Yeah.
But I like just like seeing it in my collection of investments
Yeah.
and then seeing
Of
that
your
like
of like building your wealth and like seeing that grow over time can be addicting, right?
it can be, especially when it's, a little bit over time. It doesn't have to be massive lump sums, but SpaceX just launched and I didn't go in and get like 500 stocks, but I got one. And the dopamine was like enough. I was like, yeah.
You bought one share of SpaceX. I love that. That is so great. That is so great. Oh man, I'm like, this is done. Like, I don't even think I could say anything else today. You made me so happy hearing you say that. I think because as a planner, right, as the person, I'm constantly trying to help people understand that basic concept of saving your money and building your wealth and putting it in assets that are appreciating and are working for you while you're sleeping, right? Like that's the ultimate passive income strategy, right? Is the
Yeah.
stock market. And you getting all these dividends and these extra little dopamine hits when all you did was buy one piece of SpaceX, right? 2 weeks ago. And now you're like seeing it grow and change over time. And you're literally not even doing a thing. Like that is where wealth is built. And like that is how it's created. I mean, yes, building business, all these other things too, but that's a lot of work and energy and effort. So I just loved hearing you say that.
And I'm not like, I'm not like I don't know everything about like the financial investment stuff, but I know enough, right? I know
Yeah.
enough to kind of do my own research and pick between this stock or this ETF and the difference between those things. But when it comes to, just to shift topics a little bit in regards to if you're a creator and, you are incorporated, you can still spend money and then expense that, because there are some creators, and I have few in my network where their accountants told them you have to spend more money because you're going to otherwise, pay a lot of taxes. So if you're a content creator and you need a new filming light, right? You need one of these because that's what you use for your business. Then you can expense that. Or maybe you need a hard drive. You can expense that. And as you can expense that, because it goes towards your business, I mean, this, your taxes do get lower because you're investing into your business. Same with this mic. So, if you, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do think that as a content creator, if you do need clothes for your business, or certain products and stuff, you can work with that. Like talk to your accountant to figure that out on like what that looks like, on how you can spend wisely, but like use it
Yeah.
appropriately within your business.
No, I like that. I like that ending of like, I don't like to advocate that people should just spend money to reduce the taxes, because I don't think that there's money spent for no reason at all is still money spent. So yes, maybe you paid a little bit less in taxes, but that's why you can set up retirement plans. That's why there's other avenues to like save that money and take it out of the business, rather than literally going and spending it on another hard drive or another light. Like if you need the hard drive and you need light,
That's what I was trying to
buy
get at.
it.
Like, if you need
Yes.
it, like if you're trying to
Yes.
improve your business technology or things that to
Right.
help improve the content. Absolutely.
Totally. And I've heard accountants say too, right? Like you need to write more off, right? Like, are you counting your mileage when you travel? Are you counting that, right? There are so many things that like are legitimate and needed purchases in your business. And by all means, like let's take advantage of all of those opportunities, because that's what you get to have as an entrepreneur, is the ability to expense all of that. But like be smart about it. Don't just spend the money to spend the money. So yeah,
Yeah,
I agree
exactly.
there. Yeah. So as we kind of close today, I love kind of ending with, what is like talking maybe the opposite. We've talked about great things you've done with your money and good money mindsets you've had, but what's maybe something you've done where felt super scary and you weren't sure that you should maybe go that direction, but you did, and it in the end was like worth it in terms of money or investing back in your business, something like that we were like, oh, I just don't know if I should do this or not.
Every third decision I make is I don't know if I should be doing this, and you're taking that leap of faith. Going into a business with a guy that I met, within a week, do I recommend it? But
Yeah.
am a result of that, of like, everyone's journey is different. So my intuition was telling me something that, pertained to my experience in life. And I just like
Yeah.
went all in, and it turned out to be fantastic. Same with Wovvo. That was also a massive risk, like building something that doesn't exist. Same with even like right now, Wovvo 3.0. Do we continue building tools, to have this like one dashboard, one app with like all the tools that you could have subscriptions otherwhere else? Like, is that the right move? Like, I don't know, but like I'm going to figure it out. Like, I think every day we make decisions, and sometimes we don't know, and that's why it's really important to be connected like to your gut, to like that inner spirit and energy to help guide us, because logically we can get that answer, but it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but does it feel good to do that as
Yeah.
well? Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah, totally. So well said. Well, any final words to leave our listeners with? I mean, before you go into that, where can people find you? Obviously, Wovvo, Wovvo is how you spell that. But how can people find you and reach out? And then any last words you want to leave the listeners with that we maybe didn't get to hit on today?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Paula. I started Wovvo. You can find me at this girl PP Paula. I have a little story behind that. In high school, when I would, go to house parties, you could say, and this is actually really good for branding too. So listen up.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I would, show up in my pajamas because I just like, yeah, didn't really care. And no one really remembered my name. But this one time I showed up to a house party and I had a white shirt. I don't know if you remember this. And it's from American Apparel and it had the letters PP on it. And from that
Okay.
day, everyone knew who I was. And they're like, hey, PP, like PP's here. And that became my nickname. And now, I was kind of known for that. So I kind of built that into my Instagram. And that ties along to branding as well, that like make yourself memorable, right? When people
Mm.
hear your name, when people go to your feed, when people see you, they need to feel something. They need to be reminded and like understand like who you are. And that's what branding is all about.
What a great final message. Like, be memorable, find the unique thing, the thing that maybe feels a little on the edge, like a little cringe. I don't know what that is for me, but this is a good message to me to like figure out what that is, right? Because always the thing that you think is never going to work or is like too out there probably is the thing that works, right? Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Paula. So enjoyed having you on, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you, Abby.
Thanks for watching. If you're a creator trying to figure out the money side of your business, make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments what topic you want me to cover next. Catch you in the next one.